Okay. So, as you know, I'm Heather Sidden, holistic wellness coach, owner of a Happier You Wellness Coaching, and feel free to mute yourself if you'd like. Chaos to calm. I'm really excited about this. I'm so excited. So, here we go. I'm trying to see if I can move myself over here. Let me go back. Okay, so I'm going to tell you exactly how to escape overwhelm anxiety and leave your guilt and sadness behind in little known secrets. I am really excited and passionate about this because I myself have really experienced this in my own life, and I'm excited to change the life of my clients. My goal for you today, I don't know if you can still see that because I'm like in a little box up there. My goal is to provide you with simple strategies you can start today so you know how to stop feeling overwhelmed and stressed, that you can have peace and joy within, and finally let go of anxiety. I'm excited about this. Can you tell? So, what we're going to talk about is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour, and how you can begin to tackle your biggest stress challenges. I'm going to start by asking you questions so I can learn more about your biggest challenge. I'm going to share with you my 5 top secret tips in creating happiness and calmness, and create next steps for you to take action, because I don't know about you, but I really love being able to hear the value, be able to run with the value, and take action, not just hear it, oh, that sounds good, and not understand what to do and how to do it. So today I'm going to give you some tips of how to do the things to decrease your stress and anxiety and overwhelm and actually take action on it. So jot down any questions that you have along the way. I'm going to open up at the very end for questions. So if you want to answer questions, we can do that at the very end. Okay. So this is what you're gonna learn today. So kind of the things I've already went over. So I'm gonna open it up to you that's on here. What is your biggest challenge with stress, exhaustion, overwhelm, anxiety? So Susan, if you would like to share, if not, you can just tell me no. That's totally up to you. I like to have this interactive because it's a lot easier and more relatable to not only my story, your story, but also understand where your anxiety is coming from, or maybe you don't, maybe you have more stress. So Susan, are you wanting to unmute?
Sure.
Okay, so what is your biggest challenge with stress and anxiety? Is anything coming up for you on?
Um, I mean, not honestly. I think right now, just the stress of lockdown to a certain degree, and that has been stressful. So I probably my biggest challenge is not eating junk, or eating
Uh-huh.
being tempted to eat extra little bites here and there, and um but that's probably been, you know and I have probably been more frustrated with my granddaughter because I've been with her
Right.
more.
Yeah.
So that's seeing some of her indifference to belongings at times.
Mhm.
It's Yeah, that's bothered me more than maybe when they're not here all the time.
Yeah, that makes
So
perfect sense, because especially with now, is that dealing with remote learning as well, because they're there more than
yes.
at school?
Yeah, and I've had to learn to the deep breathing, what you did on your on one of your
Yeah.
videos. That
Yes.
was, yeah, some of that is really,
Yay.
we need to do that. I mean, we really do need to, before we react,
Mm-hmm.
and I tend to react too quickly.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's easy to do for sure. Because even being a physical therapy assistant, that's what I teach my patients is, for them, like if they have COPD or anything like that, breathing issues, is breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And it's very awesome that we even teach that in the holistic wellness coaching, even the classes, just kind of taking a step back and looking at the, like what you said, it's very interesting how it kind of collides together. But
Yes.
so how long have you been dealing with tempted to eat? How long do you think that's been a struggle?
Oh, geez, that's been a struggle all my life.
Got
So
you.
it's a
So a lifelong
comfort eating.
challenge.
Yes. Comfort eating.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, especially Southern comfort eating.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So how do you normally or usually cope with this eating, tempted to eat? How do you normally overcome that, or do you not sometimes? How
Oh,
do you cope
sometimes
with
I
it?
don't overcome it. Like, just for instance, and this is an admission here that I probably wouldn't if everybody else was on here,
Right.
but um, you know those huge bags of candy?
Like for
So I
Halloween? Like for
Yes.
Halloween?
So
Yes.
I bought one of those to take to a meeting and forgot to take it to a meeting. And gosh, I ate that in like 2.5 weeks' time myself. I mean, yeah,
Easy to do.
I put some pieces out, for the kids or whatever, but and that is the last thing I need to eat because it does have so much dairy in it. So yeah, I need to not have have the stuff in the house, and what I need healthy stuff that I like in the house in its place. So that's and I need to drink lots more water than I do.
Water. Yeah.
This week I've been doing better on that, but
You have
that's
your water handy. I have some water handy.
actually I've been drinking water all day, and I
Good. I
just
need to
had
drink
that
more.
zest, and so I don't have it handy.
Yeah.
I think I left it upstairs, but
Problem.
I've
Try my
probably already
job.
had
Do what?
30. I've probably already had like 40 ounces of water today.
Oh
So
wow, impressive.
I've,
Way to go,
yeah,
Susan. I
been
haven't even had
drinking.
that much. I need to drink it, that's for sure. So, exactly what do you hope to learn today, Susan, to help you with this challenge that you have of tempted to eat? What do you hope to learn?
Oh,
The
I don't,
the stress, anxiety, and obviously this is more of it goes deeper than just tempted to eat. It kind of goes with what you were saying at the beginning there about
yeah.
the stress and eating, stressful eating. What do you hope to learn?
Oh, I don't really, I mean, I don't know.
I know it's kind of like I'm not exactly sure. Okay,
Yeah, I'm not.
all right.
So,
Sometimes it's very hard to know. That's a difficult question.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue. You feel free to mute yourself or whatever you want to do there. All
Okay.
right. Okay. So that's kind of the questions that we just went over. What is your biggest challenge? And we kind of went over, personal things like that with Susan. And I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. And sometimes when we have stressors, that we feel like we're all alone. Trust me, when COVID happened and being in healthcare, I felt all alone because a lot of my coworkers don't stress out like I do. And then they're like, oh, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all the things they're having to take the temperature and having to take the weekly and sometimes bi-weekly or 2 times a week testing for COVID, it can be like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. When is your facility is going to get it? So that's the current situation's challenge. Everybody's challenges are different. My challenges are different than yours, and your challenges are different from the next person, um, you know, that sees this Zoom. Everyone today is struggling with different things for health issues. It can be anything from if you work in healthcare, if you don't work in healthcare. There's a lot of different situations like remote learning. Should we take our kids to school? Should you totally homeschool your children? There are so many different things that we come up with that are stressors. And you guys, okay, let me kind of get on track here. Okay. So my story I have a lot of stories, but kind of like I really suffer from stress anxiety. The first time I actually realized I had experienced anxiety was I was actually a freshman in high school. And at first, I didn't even know what it was. Didn't think it was that bad. I just thought it was normal because you're going through changes in high school, that sort of thing. Um, but I really suffered through a lot of nervousness. I even got nervous and stressed out that I even started having panic attacks. And speaking of panic attacks, since COVID hit, I've had the most panic attacks in the last 6 to 7 months than I have in the last 10 years. Um, Times have changed and it gets me all worried inside and just trying. If I wasn't for this program that I have completed, I would probably be on anti-anxiety medications, but because of the holistic natural ways of handling stressors has helped me a whole lot. Like for instance, I don't know what I was really nervous about, and I probably because I didn't take my magnesium before I went to bed, is I started having a panic attack in the middle of the night last night, a little small one, and I prayed about it and I prayed God to help me with it. Because there've been one night last couple, let's see, it's probably a couple months ago that I had 3 panic attacks in one night, and that was not fun at all. I eventually had to wake up my husband. The first two I could overcome, but the last one I could not. And I am so excited to be able to tell you you're not alone in certain situations. But anyway, back to my high school days. I knew there was a struggle back then, and I kind of started recognizing the signs and symptoms, and I was being nervous. And it continued on and off through adulthood. And there would be certain times that I would be so moody to my parents back in the day that anything would set me off to argument mode. Like I thought that was part of being a teenager. So I thought, well, that's just normal. I'm a teenager. My parents being anxious and nervous affected my sleep cycle into adulthood. It started really showing up throughout the day when I would not sleep good at night, and it would show up during the day. So it would be kind of a cycle. I would be so excited one day because I felt good because I would stay up late, or I would stay up late because I felt good. And then it became the next day I wouldn't be able to function, and then I would want to go to bed really early the next day. So it was kind of like a cycle that I got myself into. And then it actually hit rock bottom moment as an adult 3 years ago until this is kind of difficult for me to talk about. And my rock bottom moment was actually when I started crying before work. I was being adult bullied by my manager at my previous job, and it got to a point where I almost had to call the doctor to be prescribed medication just to go to work. That moment, I realized that life had to change. And I was so overwhelmed and so nervous every single day that I could not even think about what I needed to do. And it was just, I lost 10 pounds unhealthy, obviously, because it was stressful. It was very stressful. And also, like Susan, you already know this, but at the time, my son was also going through a lot of different medical situations. And I felt like I could not be there for him because I was going through so much at my job, and I couldn't even keep up with my own self. So that's kind of a little bit of my story. I came so passionate about how these discoveries that I've found in the holistic wellness coaching program affected my life that I started telling other people. If you've watched my Facebook lives, which a lot of you have, especially you, Susan, I appreciate you. I have always loved doing health stories, not stories, but education. But anyway, I am so excited to be able to help you to decrease all of that stress, because I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference. A little bit quick here about my philosophy. The steps that I'm sharing with you today came from my wellness, health, life, business philosophy, which is everything is interconnected to one another. If you have watched my Facebook Live, I kind of go over how things can impact one another, or they're all interconnected. If you're really stressed out about your job, it can affect your relationship with your spouse. It can affect a relationship with your children. And then therefore it can have an effect on the food that you eat. So let me kind of zoom that in for you. So this is kind of like what we're based off of during my wellness coach and training is called the Wellness 360 Wheel. And we go over 12 of these modules. They're all 12 there. It doesn't look like there's 12, but there's 12. And we kind of go in depth on each one. We are all about a all inclusive of like getting to the root cause rather than a band-aid approach. I can tell you different ways to put a band-aid approaches on things, but we're really about getting to the root cause and long-lasting results because of the root cause. So let's dive in. Are you ready? Whoop whoop. Step one, talking about the root cause. Let's talk about it, okay? I ran out of staples, so I wasn't able to staple my paper together. So you might think, oh my goodness, where do I even start on this one? What am I talking about here is what emotion happens when you have certain emotional triggers. This might sound very familiar to you. Every morning you wake up, you fill a mug up with coffee. I'm guilty for this one. I have to say, get the kids off to school, dash off to work, frantically get through your day with still so much to do on your to-do list. Then you come home late, eat something in a hurry, get the kids to bed, and perhaps have some time for yourself and plant yourself in front of the TV. Very rare do I get to do that, but sometimes I actually have a few minutes to sit down. And it possibly may be with or without junk food, and then to bed. You wake up the next morning exhausted, and the cycle starts all over again. Who relates to this? Let's see some hands. Yeah. Or you can also put in the chat box as well about that too. Welcome to the modern world, you guys, where there is always too much to do on our to-do list and never enough time. We are actually stressing ourselves out 24/7 year after year. And I am so guilty of this. All this that I'm talking about, I'm so guilty of this. I'm just like, yes, that's me. You guys, technology is supposed to help us out, but despite having automated everything, we only seem to get busier and busier. There's always something else to add to our to-do list and have less and less time. We're all headed straight for a serious burnout, if not already, and onto the path toward disease. If we don't take care of ourselves, we're setting ourselves up for disease. The stress isn't good for us, as I'm going to tell you. All right. All right. What is happening in your body when you experience stress? Stress is directly linked to the well-known hormone called cortisol. You got it. Cortisol is your main stress hormone that activates the fight or flight response. It's made in your adrenal glands, and its main job is to help you handle stress and save you from that hungry tiger. So back in the day, that is what we're built upon, is to help you get away from that tiger, that bear, from like our ancestors done, okay? But when your life is full of stressful events, and the year 2020 has definitely been one of those, all day long, like if you're in stress mode all day long, you end up flooding your body with cortisol too often, upsetting your hormone imbalance, which this is not normal for our bodies, which also can lead to, you got it, weight gain. All right. Let's see, let me make sure that I'm on target here. Now, most of us just go with the flow and just roll with the punches, right? Day in and day out, and try to deal with what life throws at us and deal with that situation based on how we are feeling. Okay. For instance, if you already in an agitated state, you may respond emotionally by yelling. Like, I totally relate to that, because sometimes if my son Brayden don't listen to, like, okay, you got to pick up your toys, you got to pick up your blocks. No, come on, let's do this. And sometimes you're like, hey, sometimes you have to yell. And I don't like yelling, and I just wish he would listen the first time, but that's part of parenting. I totally understand that. But that gets me into more stress. My husband gets stressed out. We both get stressed, and it affects us as well. So this is a long-term result of stress by our emotions. Long-term stress can interfere with your job, your family life, your health, both physically and mentally. Everyone has different stress triggers. Everybody has different stress triggers. And we each react differently to those certain stress triggers. Something that causes you stress may not cause me stress, or vice versa. And actually, some of you may be seeing the effects of different areas in your life today. The amount of stress in America throughout the world is rapidly growing. It's crazy, especially in the year 2020. the COVID epidemic. The quote I read recently in my coaching program really summed it up. Are you ready? It's down below for you. We work too much, sleep too little, love with half a heart, and wonder why we are unhappy and unhealthy. Wow. I thought that quote was very phenomenal, and I love it because it really, really speaks volume. So I'm going to kind of go over a couple of statistics for you, because sometimes putting things in perspective is a way for a person to change and see what it's going to do to your body in the future. So let's kind of go over that. Half of Americans indicate they lie awake at night due to stress, like I've been there a lot, while 3/4 experience stress symptoms, either physical, psychological, or even both. The Harris Interactive Survey in 2012 indicates high stress levels upon Americans, with 53% saying they have little or no support. Are you listening to this? For stress management from their healthcare provider. So, you can type this on the comment section below, or, when you go to your doctor, do you feel as though your primary care physician gives you that support to decreasing your stress naturally? Or are they going to say, oh, pop you a pill and try to fix it? Are they going to go over things like going to bed earlier or anything like that? Are they going to give you top 5 pointers of how to decrease your stress? Or are they going to try to pop you a pill? Just say it. I thought that was very interesting when I read that, and it blew my mind. Okay. Let's move on. Go ahead. Would you need to say something? Okay. I can't hear you, but you're nodding your head. I got you. I'm like, woo, that's a big tip there. Wow. I'm blown away by stuff like this. According to the World Health Organization, the WHO, Americans die sooner and have higher rates of disease than 16 other countries. When I read this, I was like, what? That's nuts. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin conducted studies that indicate that stress increases the risk of dying by 43%. Like, I even read, and I don't know if I even have it on here, but I remember seeing the highest rate of heart attacks is on a Monday morning because people are dreading to go to work. I was like, that makes perfect sense. Like, people are so stressed out because they are in such a cycle of a hamster wheel, and they hate what they do. They're so stressed out and things like that. I thought that was phenomenal, like in a bad way, of course, but just was really stepped back and really thought about that. So researchers at the University of Wisconsin has conducted studies. Oh, I told you about that. But only for those who believe that stress was harmful. I thought that was interesting. Stress in of itself, it's not the issue. And I thought, what? It is how we react and perceive stress and its potential consequences. I had to read that one a couple of times because it took me a few minutes to understand what that meant, because it's based on how we react is our emotions. And if we don't let our emotions react and deal with them, and we perceive stress as a bad thing, in which sometimes stress is a good thing on a certain level. Like if you have a project due for work, and it's like, ooh, to get it done is exciting, then that's a good stress. But a bad stress, which most of the time is not good for our bodies. I thought this was very interesting, that what all stress can cause: anxiety, mood swings, increased blood pressure, which even an increased blood pressure can, obviously in the medical world, can increase risk of stroke, heart attack. We're talking about inflammation, gut issues. Gut issues can lead to Hashimoto's disease. All kinds of different things for gut issues. Dissatisfaction with career or job, low energy, depression, fatigue, lack of motivation, poor sleep. So just think about, if you have the poor sleep, what is that going to do? That's going to increase your risk of anxiety and all the other things too. Your blood pressure is going to increase. I thought this was interesting. Hair loss. I never thought that you could lose hair based on stress, hair loss. Nutrient deficiencies, decreased immunity, and so much more. So even with the pandemic happening right now, the decreased immunity, like even if you don't get your sleep that you need, it can decrease your immunity. So I thought that was very interesting as well. So, all right. So this is very real life examples. Let me give you a very specific real life client of mine example. So, a previous client of mine came to me about her biggest health struggle, which was her vision. And I know her. This is a person I know in person, and her sight. We later found out in her first coaching session that another struggle she had was wanting to lose weight. Okay. She experienced being more tired and exhausted than usual. She told me that she was doing an exercise routine of 10 minutes daily on an app that she loved. She found an app that she absolutely loved, and she loved doing it, which is great. During her first session, she revealed to me that she started that week and not sleeping well at night. So you can kind of see how things are stacking up on top of each other. She proceeded to tell me that her car broke down that week. She also, just FYI, does work in healthcare. We resolved her sleep issues and her car being broke down near the same time she was having trouble sleeping. So her stressor from her sleep, because she was lacking of sleep, was because of she was worried about her car. And then she also mentioned she had a panic attack due to the fact she was afraid of her family getting COVID. And this was actually months ago. This was probably back when the first 3 or 4 months of COVID. And she was personally worried of getting, she wasn't really personally getting worried of she was getting the virus itself. She was worried more about her family. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Just kind of hear her one struggle. She told me her biggest struggle was the vision and sight, which led to she was overweight. She wanted to lose weight. And then she's like, well, I'm not sleeping that great either. After we kind of within that first hour, this was just in an hour of a phone call. And that I found this out. And so what she ended up doing was she's like, I don't even really take a lunch. I'm so busy at work that I don't even get to take lunch. And I'm like, she's not having to take care of residents and patients, and she's not taking care of herself. So she came up with a solution on her own, what she exactly wanted to come up with for lunch that's quick and easy for her. So that way she can maintain her glucose levels. So I thought that was pretty cool. And we discovered, okay, so that kind of told you about that. But for quick healthy snacks, so she decided to do cheese and crackers and fruit or something like that, something that was quick and that she absolutely enjoyed. So I kind of like the coaching is not about like you need to eat this, you need to eat that. It's something that we kind of go hand in hand together and come up with steps for you personally. It's not like I give you a list of things that you're supposed to do and you better do it. It's very personable. Okay. All right. Let me move on. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, on
Go
that.
for it.
So I was going to wait until the end, but
Oh yeah, go for it.
diet, is that influencing her vision?
I know it could. And we say we didn't dig deeper because she ended up having issues. She hurt her back at work. And so we weren't able to finish out. But it was very interesting just with that one session, how things came about. But yeah, because no matter even what you eat, it can affect your whole body.
Yes.
So even maybe if we'd have dug deeper, we could figure out maybe something's going on there. And that was the very first thing that we thought about doing. But it kind of, as our session went on, we kind of figured out those things there too. So
Okay.
very
Sorry.
interesting. No, you're fine.
I'll write this.
But that's
down.
a really good one. Are you getting value so far, Susan?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Okay. So the action, so you can see how crucial this step is for tracking what your emotional triggers are that causes your stress, because my reaction and your reaction is going to be different than somebody else. So today I want to encourage you to think about at least 2 triggers that come to mind that gets you stressed. You can write them down. You can feel free to share them, whatever you want to do there. And if you want to share, Susan, you can feel free to do so. If not, that's totally fine. So kind of think about for just a second, if you have a pen and paper, if not, just think in your mind of 2 triggers that come to mind that makes you stress or causes your stress. And I've even heard, even if their kids leave the dirty clothes and not put them in the laundry, that is their stress trigger. that's definitely a stress trigger. So I'm going to take a second there just to kind of let you understand of what your triggers are.
It typically is something like dishes in the sink when the dishwasher is empty
Mm-hmm.
and I have just emptied out the sink already and come back and there's more in it.
Yeah, and it's like, why are you putting that in your mind? You're
Yes.
like, why are you putting that there? What is wrong with you?
Yes. And then I,
And then you're kind of like, but that's not the way to react. But sometimes
yeah.
it happens, right?
But
Like,
I internalize it because I
okay,
don't want to be the negative person. So,
right, yeah,
yeah, and then that in itself makes my chatterbox go off in my brain
yeah.
and woe is me. And then, yes, the stress builds more than, and it's the little things like that that trigger, it
And it
seems
kind of
to me.
builds up, and you kind of like, well, I deal with it for a while, I'm over it, and then it happens again, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. You're like, okay, y'all ready? And it's kind of like it builds up. It's like your rubber band, and then it snaps, boom.
Yeah.
Because if you had a more stressful day that day, you're like, oh my gosh, nothing is going right. But yeah, is there another one that comes up for you about a stress trigger, other than like the dishes or stuff like that?
Um, Probably being the kids more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Inconsiderate things,
Oh yeah.
the, I don't know, no thought of how others are being affected by their whatever they're doing,
Yeah.
however.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's probably unique for
Y-
my living circumstances
Oh yeah.
more than a lot of people's because I'm living in somebody else's home. And so that, it
Yeah.
definitely is going to be a personal trigger versus other people having that to deal with. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That can be difficult. I know when Braden don't want to listen and pick up his toys, or whether it's to go brush his teeth, that's his, like a stress trigger. It's like, do you not hear me? Come on, let's go. Let's do this. Especially in the mornings, he likes to try to goof off, and it's like every morning is a struggle sometimes. And so,
well,
doing.
now, yeah, I think one of the things too, just when my grandchildren do things that I feel like my children and my son-in-law should
Mhm.
respond to,
Yeah.
and they don't, or they do respond, but not to the degree I feel like they should, that tends to bring, because I have to internalize it. It's not my place to discipline
Yeah.
in when they're around. But yet I find myself wanting to, yet I can't. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Oh yeah. I
So,
understand.
yeah.
That makes sense. Perfect sense. So, anything else that you want to share before we
No,
move on?
that's probably enough.
Yeah. And just knowing those triggers can help too. And then to write down those triggers. So let me go to the next slide. My favorite tip. So this is my favorite tip, is to write down those triggers and what you're telling yourself in that moment. So obviously you can't be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this. Let me write this down really quick. That's hard to do sometimes, but to write down the triggers and what you're telling yourself in that moment. Is it, why are they not doing this? Or, what you're thinking. It can be all levels of emotion, and track your emotions for a week. This is what you can do. This is kind of like an action step. Track your emotions for the week. If you, and see if your emotions is happy, what situation triggered you to be happy? Kind of reflect on it. And if you're angry and upset, what situation triggered you to be angry? For some of you, you will start to see an actual pattern, and some of you may not quite realize what really triggers your emotion, and that's okay. excuse me, the best way to make this happen is to simply learn to listen to your body, which is going to bring me to the next step. So actually, for registering, you're going to actually get a track your trigger paper. So I've already done that for you, so you're able to actually track your triggers. Okay, let's move on. So step number 2. So step number 1 you just heard. And step number 2 is mindful body listening. So you probably heard the quote, listen to your body. So what is the big deal with this statement anyway? It's kind of like, what? Just listen to your body. The question I want to ask you is, do you really listen to what your body is telling you? Because I didn't. I actually didn't. Do you personally know and understand what your body is trying to tell you, even in a stressful situation? Let's be honest here. Now your body actually doesn't chit chat with you and have a conversation with you. It doesn't be like, well, it kind of does sometimes because of hunger, but but you do have an internal physical wellness, and your body actually tries to communicate with you in a unique way, and it's different for everyone. So we kind of know, there's an example that's perfect, what I was kind of telling you a little bit. When your stomach growls, what is your body trying to tell you? It's going that's right, your body is telling you that you are hungry, and that most likely is the same signal for everyone. Somebody else might have a different one, but that's usually the way that our bodies communicate to us, that we're like, okay, it's time to eat, it's time to get us food, it's time to re-energize. For instance, do you get an upset stomach or stomach pain or diarrhea after eating? Your body is trying to tell you something. Sometimes we just don't even realize that our bodies is telling us something. But why? Why do we do this? Why do we just like, oh, that's just my normal poop? You have to go to the bathroom right after I eat. But why do we do this? We are so busy. This goes back to the beginning, that we don't even pay attention to what our bodies are actually trying to tell us. You can see at the bottom, listen to your body. All right, so this is the next one. What am I actually talking about here is getting in tune with your body to find ways to improve your stress. We do often miss signals that our bodies are telling us because we have lost a connection to our bodies due to our busy world. So life can be a lot more calming and enjoyable if you take time to listen what your body is actually telling you. So you may ask, how do I listen to my own body, and how do I know what it is telling me? But I will get to that in a second or a minute. Okay, so I personally started listening to my body once I started taking my classes to become a certified holistic wellness coach. And I am a holistic wellness coach, almost certified. Whoop, I went too fast here. I really honestly didn't give a whole lot of thought of what my body was telling me beforehand. I mean, I kind of knew, but I kind of didn't. I kind of pushed it off to the side. But I kind of listened a little bit, well, what my anxiety was doing. It was doing different things to my body. But sometimes I actually didn't want to hear it. I'm like, no, I've kind of suppressed it a little bit, and I didn't want to hear it. I would stay up late, be super groggy the next morning. I paid for it at my job because I couldn't focus as good. So I would try to rev up on the caffeine, rev up of what I could. But it actually, in the very early stages, it started leaving me grouchy because I kind of started noticing a pattern also about eating certain things would leave me very moody. Um, but at certain times, I would miss a snack, and then I would start feeling bad. I would eat at different times, and my body usually tells me I need a snack by 10:30, 11 o'clock. There would be sometimes at 12 that I couldn't really focus very well because I missed my snack, and that really affected a lot of things. So I also would go to bed late. I couldn't think straight the next day, and I would wonder why. And I thought, well, what is going on here? I don't understand. I work full time. I have a side business, obviously, and I work right until I go to bed, used to. And I didn't listen to my body at all. So I didn't want to miss a minute, kind of like how my full time job is. That productivity standards, they want you to put in every single second as much as you can. And so I was trying to do the same to try to get further and further along. But I was so focused about getting things done while my son was in bed. But overall, it actually left me tired and just even more stressed and even more moody, which affected my relationship with my husband and even my son. I would notice I wouldn't want to play with him because he would agitate me. And that would agitate me because I didn't want to play with him. Like, why am I getting so mad? But I didn't actually understand until I started going through this process of trying to listen and how to know to listen to my body, because at that time I only cared about what was getting things done and just to feel like I can check it off my to-do list. Like, oh, that feels so much better because I got that task done. But I was actually wrong. I'm going to admit that to you. But once I started listening to my own body, I started taking action on what my body was actually telling me. I started to feel less stressed, less moody, and more energized, which made a huge difference in my life. So my favorite tip to you is how to do a daily body scan. And you can do this as many times a day or a week as you like. You just take a few minutes to close your eyes and really pay attention to each area of your body. So we're going to put this to action right here, right now. So let's actually do this now. So I want you to really focus. I want you to actually close your eyes first. So go ahead and close your eyes. Okay. Try to relax a minute. I want you to really focus on your physical body right now. What feels tight or strained? Is there any area or areas that need attention? Do you feel like really tense or do you feel relaxed right now? Check within, see how you feel. How do you feel about today? Feel today about your body? Are you telling yourself certain things? Do you notice any self talk? Spend a few minutes here and have a mindful moment with your body. Just a minute. Do what you can every day to move your body in some way, even if it's just for a short amount of time. How can you move your body today? What can you do to give your body a little exercise or stretching or another movement that that actually feels good to you? Just one more thing here before we open our eyes. Create intentional practices that are kind and gentle toward your body, then do them every day. What one thing can you do today to honor your body? So it could be something as simple as taking a nice, warm, hot bath, go on a walk, tell your body some nice things, and dress in something that you love. Now, open your eyes. And I normally would ask this, like, if somebody wants to talk about something that simple. I would like to hear from one of you that what the simple body scan help for you to realize about your body. And you can share, Susan, if you want. You don't have to. Kind of taking a moment to really listen to our bodies. All right, this is a big one as well. Is food for mood. All right, you're ready for this? Our bodies are all unique and react differently to different things, such as food. Did you know our mood differences can come from foods that we eat? Has anyone experienced or noticed this before in themselves or a loved one? So somebody ate something and like, oh my gosh, they're so grouchy. What did they eat? I know I certainly have, and with my son and myself, I know with him, whenever his mood would change when he would do the red dye 40, and his mood, he would be like on a different planet. And myself, as I was taking myself through the coaching classes, there's a guy that I used to work with, because now I'm transitioned to another job. He would bring donuts from Krispy Kreme and to kind of do like a thank you kind of thing every couple of weeks. And I was like so stressed that day, and I was like, oh, a donut. I'm going to eat me a donut. And I noticed that I started to notice a pattern, because when I would eat one every time, I would be so moody once I would come home. And this is like, I would eat a donut like 11, 12 o'clock courses during my snack. And I started noticing a pattern of moodiness. And I really had to step back and like try to track my triggers for the food for mood there. And I thought that was very, very, very interesting. And food can have a positive effect on our bodies too. So certain things can make you feel a lot better as well. So kind of think about how you feel after eating a big bowl of pasta or even that big Thanksgiving meal, because we're kind of getting close to Thanksgiving now. And how you feel like when you after you eat that turkey makes you want to take a nap after eating it, at least I do. And how you kind of feel about that too, eating a big meal. And food has a massive influence on our moods and how we feel. It could be the total opposite of eating a healthy, full of nutrients meal that left you feeling alert, motivated, and full of energy. All right. Oh, there's that slide. I missed one there. Okay, so we're going to talk about a quick thing of science really quickly. This is because what we eat affects the neurotransmitters our brain produces. Because if you know, I am definitely a science girl and I love science. The neurotransmitters are the brain chemicals that which tell us what we are feeling. The foods we eat provide the building blocks of these chemicals as our brain gets the nutrients necessary from the foods we eat to create the neurotransmitters which regulate and enhance our moods. All right. So that's a quick science, really quick. So I love visuals. I'm definitely a visual person. So you can kind of see the neurotransmitter. It says neuro up there. I think if you can see, I don't know if you can see the full screen or not. Because to me, it says you are sharing your screen. And then you see the axon and all of that. But this is kind of a little bit of a visual science there. I thought that was pretty cool. Basically, if we are not given our brains the fuel that they need to provide the right balance of neurotransmitters, meaning everything has to be balanced out, right? Because those actually give, hold on, I lost my place. We can prone to mood swings. Low quality foods can negatively, I've been talking too much, impacts your brain. For an example, studies have linked ultra processed foods, and I think of fast foods and baked goods. They actually are linked to depression, aggression, and anxiety and other mental illnesses. And so, because we are such a fast society today, what do? We're in a hurry. We grab one of those baked goods, we grab something at the fast food, and which really honestly puts a negative effect on our mood. And also increased risk of diabetes and all that stuff. So basically blood sugar also affects our moods when foods are high in added sugars. The spike is followed by a crash. So you feel good for a while and then you're going to crash, boom. And sometimes you can feel that even like 2 or 3 o'clock is my afternoon crash. Because when insulin starts to clear sugar from your blood, okay, these sugar lows are often demonstrate headaches and irritability. That's what that can lead to. Food for mood. I love that. That is awesome. Okay. The foods that we eat are very crucial to our everyday function, especially our moods. Our negative moods can affect our relationships. Like I said, your job, it can affect what food choices that you have. If you even have enough energy to cook your healthy meals, I've been there tons and tons of times. It can affect all aspects of our life. And I'm not going to go over this, but this is kind of like the happy hormones, kind of like the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And I know, Susan, you know those. But you can screenshot that, but I'm not going to go over that. But those are the 4 that you can read more in depth. Okay, so my favorite tip, alrighty. Okay. Is to track your mood or track your food for 1 week and see what your mood is based on what you are eating. Okay, for 1 week, track what you are eating and the mood that you are feeling. Really use the tip of being in tune with your body to do this activity. So something that you just learned about how to be in tune with your body, just taking a second try to understand what your body is telling you, be more in tune, be more of awareness really of what your body is telling you, and really understand from that aspect. Actually, think about what you have already eaten today. Is it making you tired? Do you feel like you are just like, I could just go to sleep after this, or I'm just so tired I need an afternoon nap? Or are you feeling hungry right now? Or are you feeling woohoo, energized? Or you feel like you could just go run a mile right now after this? Take note of how you're actually feeling right now and kind of reflect on what you have eaten today. In my program, I designed myself, and throughout the holistic wellness coaching program, we actually, every person, every student designs a program. And every program is different because our journeys are different. So my specific clients, because I came up with an 8-step process, and you're listening to a couple of them, which I actually go one-on-one and we go back and forth, revealing things with my coaching clients. But I actually give my clients a food journal that actually includes a daily food chart and a weekly food chart. So that way we can dive in. And if they're not having trouble in that area, we don't go over that unless they like, I really want to know more. And that kind of comes up during the coaching session. And that's part of, and like if they do my signature system, that's part of it. But if they're like, oh, I'm good, I'm energized all the time, which I'm like, what in the world are you doing? But I actually give my clients a food journal, what I just said. So there you go on that. And of course, I had to add a picture of my babies. My husband Josh, my little Braden, and my little Baxter, which he needs both of them need a haircut. My son and my dog now, they're getting too long haired. But sleep like a baby. Let's move on to step number 4. Of course, I don't need to tell any of you just how important getting a restful night's sleep actually is to your daily energy and your mood, because we talked about that already. In fact, the majority of people don't sleep well or long enough, and it's the reason they feel terrible the next day. I told you about how I did, and can't make it through a full day without energy boosting band-aid approaches. Let's just be honest, like sugar and caffeine. Bam, sugar and caffeine. Those are a go-tos. Like, oh, I'm going to get me this, and then that's going to boost me up for a while. And what happens? It decreases, it messes with your insulin levels, and then you're going to feel a crash, right? And it's a continual cycle, unfortunately. And I'm guilty of all this. I'm not going to tell you that I've always ate healthy, super duper healthy. I have my moments, and I'm more aware of the things that I do and choose because of doing this program. So it's pretty cool. I love it. Can you tell my passion already? Okay. So, yet the problem is we have lost track of how to get a good night's sleep. Okay. Let's just talk about babies for a second. So, most babies who have finally gotten to a routine, and that can be a while, go to sleep and sleep throughout the night. And we're like, the mamas are like, woo, and then we're checking on our babies because we think they're stop breathing because wait a minute, they're sleeping all night. I've done that plenty of times. But babies aren't going to go looking around for a cup of coffee for the next day, or waking up in the middle of the night looking for their Ambien or anything like that. Once they get to a certain age, they fall asleep into a natural sleep pattern and a natural rhythm of sleep. So what is it that's keeping us adults up at night? I'm going to share you another quick story that provides a little bit of insight. This is another client of mine. She told me that she used to sleep really well. She loved sleep, but in recent years, she was just restless and couldn't stay asleep at night. She couldn't fall asleep, but would wake up and have a difficult time falling back asleep. And I really asked her what changed in the last few years. And she basically told me that she used to take a lot of vacations. She loved cruises, went all the time. She actually talks about cruises all the time. And she wasn't able to take cruises because of COVID. And it just really hit her hard. That was her relaxation moment. She loved cruises. That's her go-to. But she actually told me that one thing that she does every single night is she watches TV before bed. And then she turns out the lights. She feels exhausted, but for some reason falls asleep, but wakes up in the middle of the night. So what is the problem here? Is electronics in the bedroom. We're all guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. We're all guilty of this. If you're not, I want to know you because I want to talk to you if you're not guilty of this. But that is electronics in the bedroom, whether it's TV, your iPhone, your iPad, your devices, according to a fairly recent study by the National Sleep Foundation in 2014, 89% of adults have electronic device in their bedroom, and 95% of people use their devices within 1 hour of going to sleep. So actually, scientists have studied this a little bit further. What they found was that melatonin, a natural chemical in our bodies that help regulate our sleep patterns, was reduced by 50% in those people who use electronic devices, because it messes with their natural rhythm, circadian rhythms. Because if you notice, when the sun comes up, you're more alert. At least I've taken a lot more notice since I've done this program. Is I'm more alert when the sun comes up, and when the sun goes down, I'm like, I'm ready to hit the hay. I am ready to go to bed. And so our bodies are naturally designed to work that way. But a sleep disruptor is actually our electronics and the bright lights in our rooms too. So the bottom line here is electronics in the bedroom are messing up our sleep and our energy. It just messes a lot of things up, believe it or not. So the best way to start changing this pattern, if you've developed it for yourself, is just try this experiment. So this is another takeaway action that you can do for 1 week. Commit putting away your phone 60 to 90 minutes. And at the very end, I'm going to recap a couple of things at the very end. So if you go to bed at 9, try to have no electronics by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And this is hard to do. I totally understand. It is so hard to turn it off and to be like, but we have to start setting boundaries. And I really am going to have to go over a lot of different detox of electronics and things like that. That is something that I also want to be able to do on Facebook Live. But really consider not watching TV before bed either, but reading instead, something that's going to give you relaxation, even if it's just sitting there and just reflecting on the day and just doing your breathing techniques that you learned. Okay. If you much watch TV, like if you're like, Heather, I cannot give up my TV, but try to do it in your living room rather than in your bedroom. Okay. Try that. So plan for a restful activity for right before you go to bed. So something, if you like reading, do that. Or journaling. A lot of people like to journal. So remember, you must be committed and plan ahead. So if you're like, well, I'm going to try it tonight. And then, well, I'm not going to try it tomorrow. Or maybe I might try it tomorrow. Or maybe I'm not. But you have to stay committed to those things and plan ahead. That way you'll actually take action and stay committed to it and actually do it. All right. So mindful meditation. So we're just going to be, like I said, we have been busy in this world. It's crazy, crazy all the time. And we don't actually take the proper downtime. So we have to put on our oxygen mask first in order to help other people. So we're actually going to really talk about how to do meditation. So we have to be in tune with our bodies, and we kind of learned that as well. This kind of builds on top of each other. This is kind of a little bit what I'm talking about is meditation is not a religion or anything like that. It's a mind-body connection, and it actually can help you be more spiritual as well. You're kind of giving yourself time in a quiet space and reconnect everything in harmony. So here's a little bit of history. I'm not going to go over that, but if you're a history person, there's a little bit of history of meditation. But as a goal is to focus and quiet your mind. And as you progress in it, you will find that you can actually meditate anywhere at any time and, getting to your inner calm no matter what's going around you. So for beginners, for the quiet and calmness of a place that's quiet and calm, I know so that's can be hard, but it can be after they go to bed or before they get up in the morning, or even before you go into a certain place. It could be the grocery store, into work, wherever, even in your car. Obviously, it's got to be parked. And this is kind of like what meditation actually helps, because I was really, really involved in trying to figure out what actually meditation helps. So I'm not going to read those aloud. There's so many benefits of meditation there. Decrease pain, reduce the risk of heart attack, inflammation. So who has actually tried meditation before? You have? I see your mouth moving. Susan, do you want to unmute? I mean, you don't have to, but I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. No,
You have?
I have done some.
You have. Does it
Yeah.
help you a whole lot?
I used to do yoga every morning and then evening. There was a short yoga. I still have it, but a
Awesome.
short just kind of to make you relax and
Yeah.
also wake you up in the mornings to kind of get your body moving. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not going to go over the statistics, but I always like to have this up in case somebody kind of looks at it and be like, oh my gosh, I needed those statistics. But there is a lot of that. So it's going to help with sleep. So it says like 75% of them only needed up to 20 minutes to doze off to sleep, because talking about people with insomnia. Because like I said, I'm a science girl and numbers. I love all of this stuff. Some people aren't, but it's just showing you all the different kinds of things about statistics on meditation. And it actually improved anxiety levels 60% of the time. I thought that was
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool. And who was inspired to do some meditation? I know I love doing meditation, and I need to do more of it because I know it would keep me in self check and things like that. I've got, you've got to have that habit of doing it and
Hmm.
telling yourself to get motivated to do it, because it'll decrease anxiety. Um, let's see. So here is actually seven easy tips to developing a meditation practice. And if you want to screenshot that, are you able to see the whole thing, Susan?
Yes.
Okay. So it's basically set time aside. Making time to meditate is key. Best to do it at the same time every day. You don't have to, but it just a quick reminder, so that way it's a habit for you. And you can actually start with 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute, 30 seconds. And you can work yourself up to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes if needed. It talks about, find a quiet spot somewhere that's a special place where nothing that's going to give you like stress. If you're like your closet stresses you out, like if that's your getaway time and you have a huge closet and it drives you nuts because you need to clean it, don't go there. Or like if the phone, is going to ring off the hook where you're at, don't go there either. So sit in a comfortable position. You actually want to sit instead of laying down, because sometimes people get so relaxed when they lay down, they're like, they knock off to sleep and not aware. So it's actually great to sit down. And awareness, you can actually keep your eyes open and concentrate on a focal point. So like a certain thing in the room. It could be, they even say talking about a candle flame is a good one. And if you want to, you can close your eyes and you're breathing deeply from your gut rather than your chest. I'm a chest breather, so this was really hard when I was trying to get into this. And to stay present. So you want to stay present in the actual moment. And then relax, try not to push your thoughts away, relax and notice your thoughts and focus on a point. So those are 7 easy tips for meditation. And what I really like Headspace app. I don't know if you've tried it, Susan, but
Yeah.
Headspace, I really like that app.
My daughter has it, so
Mm-hmm.
for Ava. So
Does
it's
it work for
definitely,
her a whole lot?
it helps. Nothing works for Ava. She's
Yeah.
just not a sleeper.
Yeah.
So, um, I think it does help, but
Kind of
she's,
calm. Yeah.
yeah, just getting her to calm down at night and sleep. Yeah.
And there's one, I think the Calm app, I remember seeing they actually have, because I do the free version, I haven't actually bought. But
Right.
the Calm app, even in the free version, I think they have kid stuff in there too. I need to look at that again.
There's another one that let me see if I can see it.
Yeah.
Um, Moshi,
No, I haven't heard that one.
Moshi. That's what,
Oh,
yeah, that's what,
Moshi.
oh, my delusion. Yeah. That's that's one that Tess has for Elliot. So,
Yeah. And it's, because meditation is like mainly breathing method to focus and quiet your mind. I even noticed when I was going to get stressed or felt really stressed, I have a app on my phone for yoga, and just trying to
mhm.
do a couple of those things too just really helps as well. It helps a whole lot. Um, And a quick recap, because if you're like me, I'm like, whoo, okay. So we're trying to shove a lot of information into 1 hour, which I know we got started a little late. So a quick recap, and you can do a screenshot of this as well, is 5 ways to from freedom from stress and exhaustion. So I trying to create freedom from chaos to calm. Let me catch up here where I'm at on my paper. So step 1 was getting to the root cause. To get started, write down those triggers and what you were telling yourself in that moment. We went over that very first, and then I will be sending you, because you registered, that I will be sending this to you via email. You can track all your emotions and anything that kind of comes to mind. And step 2 is mindful listening, to become in tune with your body and doing a daily body scan, kind of like what we went over and that sort of thing. Step 3, food for mood. Track 1 week of what you eat and your actual mood. Use the tip of how to stay in tune with your body, or to be in tune. Step 4, we talked about sleep like a baby. You want a big tip is try to turn out all the electronics, the TV, all the electronics like your iPhone, the iPad that I described earlier. Step 5, mindful meditation. We talked about the breathing to help you to quiet your mind, reduce your stress, and it also will help you sleep better as well. So you may wonder, well, what in the world is my next step? But I want to give you guys an actual next step, what you're supposed to do from here. Let me find my next slide. I love having to stay on topic here, because if not, I will not be on topic. So I want to give you an action plan for each person to play yourselves. Before we do that, let's get clear on what your next step is. What is one of the things that was most helpful to you in this workshop, Susan? I know if you want to share, what is something that you took away from this? If you want to share.
Oh, I guess I'm unmuted. Probably the journaling, both of the food, but more on the stress triggers and that was probably, yeah, I wrote that one down actually. So it's like, oh, that was good.
Yeah, because that's actually, I watched one of the videos because I had developed my system and it only had 7 steps. And I actually watched one of the videos that is in our holistic wellness coaching program. And I was like, they were talking about tracking triggers of something like I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm missing an exclusive step from my program. People are going to have to track their triggers to understand how to overcome them. And that's like the foundation of my whole program.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I was missing that vital information. And I thought, well, geez, I'm so glad I watched that video, because that was like a bonus video that they had on there. And I'm like, well, I am so glad I watched that. So I thought that was pretty cool. But, what is the one thing that you feel as though that you're going to try? You said to track your triggers.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely try that one. So. Yeah.
And it is important to have a next step, because in your mind, because creating a healthy life is all about taking just the next step, because sometimes we plan something and we don't realize we have to take the next step and to get to the next one and the next one, because a lot of times it kind of builds up to one another there. Okay, let me see where I am. 50. And it actually sounds like it was really helpful to you, especially you, Susan, and you've decided upon something that you can definitely try after the workshop, which is good, because that's what I'm all about, is trying to create that next step. Let's see, let me go to the next. So, I want to first and foremost congratulate you for being here today, and obviously listening and taking a lot of keynotes here about what is your next step and what to do to decrease your stress naturally. So you've identified your next step, which is good. That's usually sometimes the hardest thing to do, actually. But I'd actually like to invite you to fast track your success in taking this next step with support. Obviously, I told you what your free gift is at the beginning of the session, or at the workshop, is actually giving you that track your trigger sheet.
Mhm.
And that's going to help you a whole lot. That is for sure. But also, I'm going to help you with your support. So I definitely want you to fill out that evaluation form. That's kind of your golden ticket to actually get that sheet that I was telling you about. Let's see. And being on Zoom, I know sometimes they teach us of how to do things in person, but with COVID, it's kind of like totally different. So I can actually, you got that email, right, Susan? Did the attachment come through? Okay.
For the 10 tips.
Um,
Oh, I don't know
the
about the.
evaluation form that was with the first email.
Oh, probably. I
Okay.
didn't.
That's the
Yeah.
one I'm talking about. The one
Okay.
that has the evaluation. It's like congratulations to the workshop or signing
Okay.
up, registering. It's on that one.
Okay.
So the second gift is those who are actually really resonating with me today, and what I'm saying, because if you're like nodding your head this entire time, like I totally understand where you're coming from, because I've actually been there too. And if you've really been struggling with this issue for a while and you're finally ready to make a change, you're like, Heather, I am so sick and tired of being tired and anxiety and overwhelm and your panic attacks. And you may not have panic attacks, but I know I did, and I was ready to get over them. And if you'd like to get personal support in accomplishing this, you've tried lots of things on your own and you're done with that approach. You're like, I have tried so many things and it's not working for me. And for those of you who would like more clarity on your unique personal health challenges and would like to meet with me personally and go on a deeper level with these topics, because we've just actually scratched the surface with the things that we can cover, I'd actually like to invite you to a complimentary, personalized, overcoming your stress, anxiety, and overwhelm discovery session with me. So what a discovery session is actually we take 30 minutes to 60 minutes, and it's a one-on-one personal thing. It could be Zoom, it can be a phone call. This is basically kind of see if my services is a fit for you and vice versa. So, it's a complimentary, it doesn't cost a thing. It's just kind of digging a little deeper than we did today. And this is really interesting because a lot can be uncovered in this session, because we actually do apply it to your own life and that sort of thing. I'll ask several questions, and we kind of look at what obstacles are standing in your way, what steps you can take to get where you want to be. So I think that's a super cool tool there. Let's see. And my next step for you is like, if you like the complimentary session, all you do is, check the box on the sheet that's on the evaluation form, or just say, Heather, I really want that complimentary session with you to figure out what else is going on here that I need to uncover. But normally, I would love to have that evaluation form because it helps me also, because I'm very new at this. And so any kind of feedback, like different things, would help me a whole lot too. But
Perfect.
I do what?
I said perfect.
Well, thank you, because I've only practiced this one time. So, and it's very interesting when you actually get somebody interacting with you. It makes it awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
But I actually offer a number limited because of a complimentary session. Because the schedule can be tight, everything's crazy. So I really try to take time for 30 minutes to 60 minutes to really be one-on-one with you, focus on you, and actually have one on Halloween that day with one of the ladies I used to work with, and about her son and things like that. So that's not my specialty, is with kids, but also it could be a part where I can help her in a sense of different aspects. There's something that's very similar to what Braden is going through, or what he has been through, that I can help her with. So that was a big thing for me too when I started the wellness coaching program, just to be able to help moms. So I would just request that you get to, the evaluation form in 48 hours. And if you did not get that, let me know. I can resend it. So that way you have it. That is your golden ticket to actually get that paper that I was telling you about Track Your Triggers.
Okay.
So let me see. Any questions that you have? Hold on, let me go back. And on the evaluation form, and right here it is. Let me see. I have it handy actually, so that way you kind of know what it looks like. it says a wellness. Well, I don't know if let me. There we go.
I can't really see it. Oh, okay.
Because it basically asks different questions. What did you like the best? Just different information on there too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Any questions that you have, Susan?
No, not that I can think of right now. My daughter's been calling me, so I need to
Yeah, I heard my house phone ring.
answer her too, because she's working tonight and I've got Elliot tonight, so she's probably questioning my time frame. So anyway, but thank you.
You're welcome. And I didn't see the chat box. Yes, yelling. I see it now. I gotta really work with this to see. Let me stop the
Well,
recording.
I'm glad